I'm sure everyone can tell from the big red sign, this is Mark Rusch running for re-election. So some of these questions will be a little bit different since you're an incumbent rather than a candidate. So rather than asking why run for the position initially, why run for re-election? And I would think that there's a chance that after enough years on the bench, you would say, you know what, I'm done. I'm going to go back to private law practice, make more money, have more sleep, perhaps. Why keep after
I
it?
love my job. It is just fun. Now that may say something about my psychological makeup, but being a judge it's fun. It is intellectually stimulating. I am a bit of a law nerd, so I get to do the law thing, and it helps me combine two of my real passions, which are public service and the law. I haven't woken up yet thinking, I need to quit this. I wake up, I'm happy to get to go to work. I'm in the building before 8. I love my job, just fun.
Okay. Previous experience prior to becoming a judge? You've been a judge 19 years?
I've been a judge total 19 years, district judge since September 1st of 2000.
Okay.
Before that, from November 11th of 96 to September 1st of 2000, I was the first judge of County Court of Law number 4. Before that, my official anniversary date with the county is June 1st. I started the Tuesday after Memorial Day. I won't make a tacky comment about how much money they still owe me for not paying for that period of time. But I would be tacky. But I was with the Collin County DA's office for 12 and a half years. Did everything in that office from misdemeanors to felonies, road appeals, all that stuff.
And you were initially appointed
No.
judge?
I was initially elected to the County Court of Law number 4 was a 4-person race. I won in a row.
Okay.
I was appointed initially to the 401st by George Bush when he was running for president.
Right. When were there special qualifications that you had at that time that led to that appointment?
I think I'm special. The truthful answer is I don't know what the governor was looking for. I am board certified in criminal law. I know the governor likes board certified lawyers, or he did. I had won a contested election. I know he likes people who could win and be elected. I had been a judge at the County Court of Law level, and I had a 4-year record that was very good. I wasn't reversed at all in that period of time. What other things he was looking at, I don't know. Those were the big ones.
Okay. Campaign contributions. One of the things that always it seems kind of funny is some of the primary contributors to political campaigns of every type, including judges, are lawyers. Some of whom may actually end up at some point appearing in your court. What's your position on campaign financing, specifically from attorneys?
Generally speaking, the people that contribute to races are the people who are most interested in those races. All of you guys are here to learn some things, and you have an interest in who is going to be the judge. There are people in this room, I'm sure, who have written checks to judicial candidates. I bet you most of them haven't. The attorneys have an interest in who sits on that bench. There are campaign limits. I've agreed to participate in their campaign. If somebody thinks I'm taking a dive for $2,500, they don't know who I am. Ain't gonna happen. That's the individual or household maximum somebody can contribute in my room. I take campaign contributions from lawyers. And there isn't a lawyer. This is my 4th contested race. I had a lawyer tell me in November that after hearing and he came back and was talking to me, and he thanked me for giving him his hearing. And he said he had talked to another Collin County lawyer, and he said he was concerned because it was going up in front of this judge that he didn't know and who he hadn't contributed to. He practiced mostly in Dallas. Dallas is a different place. And he was concerned that because the lawyer on the other side had contributed in my last verse, and the lawyer he was talking to said, "You don't know Mark Rusch. It doesn't matter. He doesn't care if you contributed to his race or not. I don't. I base decisions on the law and the facts, and this stuff is not something I base decisions on. Guys who have not contributed to me, guys who have endorsed opponents of mine, get a fair shake and have won in my court. I don't care if they contribute to my race or not."
Fair enough. One of the challenges, and I assume this is true for a candidate for any position, be it judge or a legislative position, when you're an incumbent, you have a record. You have cases that you've heard, cases that have been appealed. How do you feel your record is, and how does your record compare to other district judges in terms of appeals, rates of decisions being overturned, things like that?
Everybody that I've sent to the penitentiary has appealed their case. They had nothing but time. Most civil litigation that loses appeals. It's not how many times you are appealed, it's how many times you're reversed. I've been a judge for 19 years. I have conservatively disposed of, and a lot of that will be agreed pleas, and can't appeal agreed pleas, so, but I have disposed of in 19 years, county and districts, somewhere between 25 and 45,000 cases. In the last 5 years, I have presided over 2,000 bench trials, family, civil, criminal, and another 80 some odd jury trials. I haven't had a criminal jury trial reversed ever. Haven't had a
No criminal convictions.
No, I've never reached it. I said there have been 7 cases that I am aware of that got reversed. 3 of them were motions to suppress, where the law changed by the Court of Criminal Appeals after I ruled. One of them I'm actually very proud of. Okay? There's a motion to suppress, and as the law existed, even though I disagreed with it, I thought the opinion was foolish, I followed it, and I granted the motion to suppress. The state filed a motion for rehearing and asked that I change my ruling. I took about 3 minutes to criticize the Court of Criminal Appeals ruling that they were talking about. I said, when it came out, I thought the case was an aberration and misreading of precedent. It was absolutely wrong. But my job, anybody who was here last month, I think in November, heard Justice Massingale explain vertical stare decisis. My job as a trial lawyer is to follow the law, even if I disagree with it, not to create it, not to change it. And I told the prosecutors, if you want to change it, take it to the Court of Criminal Appeals. Your motion for rehearing is denied and overruled. But the Dallas Court of Appeals affirmed my decision. Went from the Dallas Court of Appeals, the DA's office took it up. The Court of Criminal Appeals began their decision with this phrase: the trial court reluctantly granted the motion to suppress. That's the last time I mentioned in that hearing. They then spend about 3 pages praising the Dallas Court of Appeals for following the law, but they were changing their mind. And in this one limited set of circumstances, so the case that I upheld and that I criticized, they proposed all the way up and they reversed it, and that's what should have happened had they not entered that case several years ago. I haven't counted them, I really haven't. In 19 years, I think I've been reversed 25 times or less total civil, family, criminal. And at least on the criminal side, I know that there's at least 4 of those are because after I ruled, the Court of Criminal Appeals changed the law. So I rule here, case goes up on appeal, Court of Criminal Appeals says, just kidding, and then my case gets heard by the Dallas Court of Appeals. I think my record is exceptional. The new judges don't have one on appeal, and I really, truthfully, we don't sit around at judges' meetings and, you know, so you got reversed last Tuesday. We don't have those conversations. I try to follow the Dallas Court of Appeals, but I don't keep track of who's up, who's down. I truthfully don't know.
Okay. Are there any particular endorsements that you've received that you're especially proud of?
Terry Boxes. Collin County Deputies Association, the Kinney Police Departments Association. A whole lot of folks I know I'm going to leave people out. Lori Lofton, Diane Jones, my wife, you know, she should probably be first. The thing about being a judge is the job is to make a decision. I have a 100% chance of at least 50% of the room leaving ticked off. If you worry about that, you'll never make a call. Old political expression. Supporters come and go, enemies accumulate. If you don't think I haven't made hard calls in 19 years and irritated more than one person with a little bit of stroke, every district judge who's been a district judge for any length of time has done that.
Questions? Anybody else? You guys got to help me out a little bit. Okay, I've got some backup questions, so I'll go to some of my backup questions. These are a little more generic. I'm a psychiatrist, so I'm a psychiatrist. That's
cool.
You know that, but not everyone in the audience knows. One of the things that's come up lately has been issues of gun violence and an increasing call that people with mental illness should not own guns, purchase guns, whatever else. Now, there's a lot of controversy, I would say, as to exactly where that line is. Now, one of the things that could really have a negative impact on me would be if people are afraid that coming to see me means they're not going to be able to purchase or keep firearms. Tell me what your position is on mental illness and firearms.
And let me give you the judge position, and let me give you Mark's position. The judge's position is it's up for the legislature to determine, and wherever the legislature draws the line, I've got to deal with it, unless it clearly violates the Constitution. The judge doesn't draw the line, unless the legislature gets stupid and refuses to define what they mean by mental illness or severe mental illness. What are we up to, DSM-5? What are we up to, the DSM-5? Okay, about this bit? Okay. It is the manual that they use to diagnose mental health issues. Here's the checklist. Must have 7 of the following 15 criteria. Boom, 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 boom. There isn't a person in this room who won't fit into some label in a book this thick that deals with everything. Okay? Every district judge I know has a bit of the control freak in him. I'm sure I'm a very interesting psychologist. Where do you draw the line? Where the line gets drawn is always a legislative question. Now, and I as a judge have to deal with it wherever the legislature draws it. There are mental health issues, there are mental health issues. As a law judge, I had mental health jurisdiction.
And your personal position.
Mark's position is that Mark is a long-winded guy. Let's try to be concise. If you look at Heller and the Supreme Court's recognition of an individual right to self-defense, guaranteed by the Second Amendment. Pretty clear. They also recognize that you can have reasonable restrictions on that right. No right is unlimited. And along with every right, there's a corresponding responsibility or duty. I'm a big fan of responsible gun ownership. You're going to have one, practice. Clean it. Rusty guns, bad idea. You know, not being able to hit the broadside of a barn because you watch TV and a shotgun takes out the whole wall. You know, we all know better. Correct me if I'm wrong, Doctor, but don't you already have a legal duty to report somebody if you have reason to believe there is an immediate threat to themselves or to the public? You gotta take some action.
Yeah.
That's pretty much where I put it. If there is an immediate duty, if there is really reason to believe that this, you know, if we're going to be honest about gun deaths in America, what is it? 3/4 of them are suicide? Okay. So take 3/4 of them out, and you're mostly left with the gangbangers.
Okay.
But why are they suicidal? You know, there's depression, there's anxiety. Lots of people get depressed. Doesn't mean they shouldn't own a gun. Lots of people have anxiety. They deal with it with medication or other physical therapy. They go for a walk. Doesn't mean they're going to open up on a school full of kids, for crying out loud. If we are talking about drawing a line, that's where I put it. Reason to believe immediate danger to themselves or to the community.
Okay. Fair enough.
Anything else?
Nope. That was it. Thank you.
You're welcome.